Bob, two big things happening today.
You
breaking that record, like you said, shattering it, not
Right.
just breaking it, and watching the tropics.
Yeah, the tropics really active, and you would expect this.
Right.
We're just on almost the anniversary of 1992, Hurricane Andrew, when it hit the southeast coast of Florida and caused all sorts of problems there. We are looking at not a similar condition at
That's
all,
good.
a similar storm at all, but it's going to have an impact, I think, on southeast Florida. It looks like Sunday is the timing. We'll see how it plays out. But look at this tower cam. We had some rain develop. Finally, we're getting back into that pattern of afternoon and evening storms. We even had some severe weather up near Pinellas County, a severe thunderstorm warning. Look at this, just a glimmer of sunshine there. And just as the sun was setting, going below the horizon, just a little bit of clearing skies off in the distance. And photos were sent in of the shelf cloud up at northwest Bradenton from Kathy Bixby as the storms were rolling in up there, and nearly an inch of rainfall fell. And Robert Frank catching this just before the sun went below the horizon. We appreciate those photos at Pix, P-I-X at mysuncoast.com. Well, all the rain is over now, and it'll be back a little stronger and a little more widespread, I do believe, tomorrow. As a result of our winds switching more to an easterly direction. It was northeast today, and a little bit more moisture will make its way across the state tomorrow. So look for those afternoon and evening storms. Some of those could be severe at times. Like we saw today, we had a wind gust up to 57 miles an hour at the MacDill Air Force Base just shortly after 5 o'clock tonight. Currently, we have clear skies, but still warm, 82 out there, and the humidity fairly high, 76%. Winds out of the east-northeast at 6. The pressure on the rise at 30.11. And the high today, well, there it is, 99 degrees, almost 100. And our average is 90. 81 was the low, and 96. The old record set back in 1981. No rainfall officially at the airport. However, there were showers around. Temperature 79 in Tallahassee, 83 in Orlando, 85 now into Miami, and 82 in Key West. And around the area, temperatures into the low 80s for the most part. The Gulf of Mexico very warm at 88, and that could be a factor if this storm system does emerge into the Gulf. Water temperatures extremely warm throughout the Gulf, and we could make for a bigger system there if it does do that, but there's a lot of ifs there. High pressure building over the southeast. There's a line of low pressure here east of the state, and this may influence somewhat what this tropical disturbance does down the road. But for the time being, with this east to northeasterly flow, we'll get a better chance of that convergence along the sea breeze front in the afternoon, which will give us a much better chance for showers and storms right through the weekend. Now, this is a poorly organized system. And the reconnaissance aircraft earlier today did not find any centralized area of low pressure or circulation for that matter. There's a mid-level low right here, and there's also a surface little trough, if you will, to the north of it, which is really starting to flare up. Here's some of the forecasts. Now, again, I caution you, there's a big spread here when it comes to what it's going to be doing in 4 to 5 days, but most of the models are trending south, and they're starting to gather here, although there are still a few models that suggest more of a northerly turn. This is basically one model with different runs. It's the Canadian model, taking it off toward the east due to a trough of low pressure, which is expected to develop there, but it may not be as strong. Look at the spread here from one model to the extreme to the east, and nearly 800 miles in where the center may be, if there is a center at all. Some models dissipate the system in the next couple of days near Hispaniola right here. Also, it has to contend with some very dry air to the west of it. Although you'll notice this dry air is shrinking over the past 24 hours, and sometimes these have a tendency to develop their own moisture content around them, basically, and kind of get rid of the dry air. As far as the Gaston is concerned, it's going to continue off to the northwest. It will be one of the strongest storms of the season, but it's not going to have an impact on any land area at all in the next 5 days as it heads off basically toward the north and eventually the northwest, and then eventually off into the open waters of the Atlantic. Well, some storms to the north of us will actually fire off still for the next hour or so, then wind on down, and we'll look for fair skies in the morning, and then showers developing into the early afternoon, and then more of that activity kind of spreading across the Suncoast in the late afternoon and evening, winding down after 9, similar to what we saw today, but a little bit more widespread. Same goes for Thursday and into Friday. Now, the forecast may increase this rain chance, of course, the future path and direction of what the system may be doing by this weekend. And northeast winds turn to the northwest at 10 knots, a light chop out there on the bays and inland waters. The water temperature a warm 88 degrees, and we'll see a high of 88 at the area beaches as well. The UV index staying high. Low tide 11:31, and a high tide will be at 5 o'clock. And the forecast tonight, warm and muggy. Low temperatures into the upper 70s. Northeasterly winds 5 to 10. Tomorrow, heat index up to 100 to 105. A little bit cooler, but still hot, 93. And the extended forecast A lot depends upon the future path of what may be a tropical system. Over the weekend, we'll be watching it closely. If we're going to get an impact in the system, Haley, looks like late Sunday and Monday would be the biggest time frame for us.